The evidence is still debated, by the way, I will tell you, what's called timing of food, right? Because they say, if you eat the same calories in the evening compared to the same calories in the morning, do you gain weight? There's a group of people that say, yes, you're going to gain more weight if you actually, even though you're eating the same number of calories in the day, eating in the evening makes you gain weight.
I see that.
Okay? So I just say, it may or may not be correct, but there's no harm in actually changing some of your lifestyle. Because that's actually how human beings used to be, by the way. You know, if you ask your great-granddad if he lived on a farm, what did they do? Guess what? They ate first thing in the morning, and they, at the end of the day, ate very little before they went to bed. Of course, they woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, too. Right? So that's number 3. 4, alcohol. Cardiovascularly, there is epidemiological evidence that, and there's evidence that says 0 people, teetotalers are better. But I think the evidence is, if you think about the stress as well when you come back into it, having 1 alcohol drink a day, that's 1 unit. By the unit is defined by half a pint of beer, 1 shot of whiskey, or 1 shot of any spirit, right? Is 1 unit. That's 1 unit. So men are allowed 2 units a day, and women are allowed 1 unit. Right? But having said that, 1 is still better than 2. 0 is debatable because there are people who say that no, none of that may not always be perfectly right. But that's it. Any more than that, and I think that you are really back now to the curve is J-shaped, right? It starts to rise. So you have to actually look at that aspect of it. Stress. Stress is something that no one pays attention to. You actually have to find some personal time. Every culture has their way of their favorite de-stressing thing. And they were invented because they work. Whether it's Tai Chi, or yoga, or meditation, or personal time, or doing something that they say you're doing it for yourself, right? Every culture has something like that. And you need to adopt it. You have to find whatever you like. You might like Tai Chi, try it. Yoga, try it. Personal time, where you just say, you know what? My space for 10, 15 minutes, this is what I do. Perfect. You need to do that. Because it turns out that actually catecholamines, too much catecholamines and too much cortisol over a period of time do associate with increased cardiovascular disease. So people who are really, really stressed, you look at them, their blood pressure is not that bad, they're a little elevated, they don't have very high cholesterol levels, they may not necessarily have diabetes, but guess what? They get heart attack. Right? Yeah. Because they have this chronic stress issue. And that's why you see it, even in prisoners and people who've been tortured and stuff. That's why they have that. It's chronic stress. And you are just as much susceptible as they are, except they're more artificial in a higher level. So you have to think about that. Sleep. Poor sleep reduces your acuity during the day. That's been done. You guys may not know this. Every professional NFL team, every person that makes money off sports, hires people to teach whoever they are trying to manipulate to say sleep better. There is a professional doctor hired for every NFL team to teach all of their catchers, throwers, whatever, to talk about their sleep. Why? Because they know that if they sleep well, the next day their performance is better. And that's been shown. You sleep poorly, your blood pressure the next day goes up. Absolutely does. So that's why sleep apnea people, they say, oh, you got hypertension because of your sleep apnea. Because sleep apnea is a very disturbed sleep, right? So cognition, blood pressure, turns out increased obesity comes with poor sleep as well. So you need to actually now think about your sleep and get into a habit that says what happens. So that means no freaking cell phone when you are going to bed. You literally have to actually use that app in there that says do not disturb unless, and only for emergencies, right? And the reason why Apple give you those different screens, actually there are different receptors and in the back of your brain that actually measure some kinds of light. So you're actually activated. So if you don't want to be activated for your brain, you should avoid that kind of light. And they tell you, that's why your screens have that night one and whatever. But you shouldn't really have that screen on at all.
Why?
And because it's actually already activated.
But if you have that the screen protector with
Yeah, but that's because they're trying to minimize it, but they can't get rid of it, right? There's no way you can say just because Apple did the study and or whoever.
So you're not saying it because of brain stimulation if you're talking about...
It is brain stimulation. So what's happening, so here's the thing, right? So sleep is very interesting. When you go to sleep, so this is consciousness. And when you fall asleep, the first thing you do is you just get a little under, right? You're not deep yet, but you get a little under. Then what you will do throughout the night is this. How low you get, you don't know. But you actually get close to this subconscious level, right? You're still asleep, but this is awake. A simple example of why this is part of evolution. Have you ever wondered why, for some reason, you wake up and you go, oh yeah, because I felt that my pillow had fallen off the bed, right? How did you even hear? Because you were here. But somehow your brain is still sensing your environment. So when you say, what's going on? That's what's going on. You are still sensing. So you think you're not, but actually your brain is. So when something is not right, or you hear something that you were asleep, it's waking you up because you were here. Now if you'd gone down deep, you're not going to wake up. But you're doing this, you're cycling, this is part of your behavior, right? Because otherwise, you wouldn't survive. That means that your environment has to match that. Otherwise, you're not going to get all that sleep. And you need part of that deep REM for your brain to recover. How does that work? I don't know. We still don't understand why your brain needs to do that. But it does, right? And for us, both our hemispheres are actually going down as opposed to dolphins who put one brain to sleep and while others awake or whatever. We can't do all that stuff, right? Or octopus or whatever it is that they studied it. But you do need that sleep.
So when you sleep,
is there a magic number? No.